Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Incorporated, and today we're going to be diving into the world of punishment.
Yes, in this video, we're traveling into the future all the way to year 2075. We'll be predicting what punishment might look like and asking real people what they think as well.
Before we get into it, let's introduce our team. I'm Jacob, and my fellow speakers here with me are Athena and Ian.
Hi.
Hello.
On camera, as I said, we have Athena, Ian, and I, but behind the scenes, we've got the rest of our great team, Ian and Apple on editing, as well as Joseph and Natalie on research and interviews, and finally, Cody helping us tie the whole project together.
Awesome. Let's get into it. Athena, want to start us off?
Absolutely. So, in order to predict what the future punishment will be, we first have to understand where punishment began and how it has changed.
Historically, punishment was extremely public and violent, using methods such as torture and executions. Over time, society has shifted towards a more civilized model of punishment. Today, in the United States, punishment is institutionalized, usually involving incarceration or fines.
One of my favorite analysis of this shift in punishment comes from Foucault. He argued that the shift from order harsher forms of punishment wasn't just about becoming more humane, but also about power. What really changed was the way power is displayed and exercised, and that transformation shaped the entire modern system of punishment.
Basically, power shifted from monarchs using public torture to send a message to a silent power watching silently from above.
Sounds a little sinister when you put it like that. But I guess you're right. Constant surveillance, especially in prisons, is a very helpful tool for punishment and control of the masses. Those who believe that they are always being watched will self regulate their behavior as such, therefore, reducing the amount of policing and behavioral correction that would need to be done without surveillance.
The surveillance theory reminds me of the panopticon, a circular prison in which one guard could watch everyone through the central tower. The key was inmates were knew that they were going to be watched.
Now that we have a pretty good foundation on punishment, I think we can start covering our topic for the day. We are going to take a closer look at deterrence and rehabilitation as it pertains to the future of punishment.
Yes, we are. But first, let's explain those terms, Ian.
Deterrence is essentially a justification for punishment. The idea is that punishment will prevent future crime. If one knows the consequences, they will avoid breaking the law.
Exactly. And rehab is more utilitarian approach to punishment. It focuses on the changing the offender so they can integrate into society. Think therapy, job training, and other social programs within prisons.
Norway is a great example because they emphasize rehabilitation for nonviolent offenders, and they have had great success. Their recidivism rates are the lowest of any country in the world.
Now, let's start talking about the future. Our team has taken to the streets and conducted some real life interviews to get y'all's opinions.
And after we listen to what our interviewees have to say, we'll add some of our own thoughts and break everything down through Garland's three lens, lenses of punishment: sociological, penological, and philosophical.
We have asked a few different questions to gauge our audience's thoughts on the future of punishment as it pertains to deterrence and rehabilitation.
Our first interviewee was Jamal. We started off by asking if society switched their focus to balance rehabilitation and deterrence, what do you think punishment would look like in 50 years?
I think punishment is going to look like what is almost looking like now, less jail time. I think it's going to be. I think they're going to get rid of. I think they're going to get rid of the prison setting as far as like prison cells. I think they're gonna. I think they want to get rid of that because they say that you can't really rehabilitate in the same what am I looking? What word am I looking for? In the same environment is basically putting them back in the same environment. They're just behind bars now, but they're still in the same environment. Prison is just like being in the streets. Honestly, it's like it's still violent. You still can run around. You still can do whatever you want. So I think they want to like limit that environment to make them still feel like because if you look at some other prisons, like I looked at so other prisons in other war in different countries and stuff, and some of them don't have bars. They have like regular
Yeah.
like settings and the people you never hear about like violence there. You always hear about them being rehabilitated in programs and stuff. So I think in the next 50 years, prison is going to be less prison time. It's not going to be like prison. It's going to be more like really like a rehabilitation center. Is it like it's not going to be like with bars, and it's going to look more like hospitals, honestly. I
Yeah.
think that's what it's going to look like.
So it looks like people have a pretty strong idea of what the future of punishment looks like. Seems like Jamal thinks it's going to be like the prisons in Norway we already spoke about
They
briefly.
sure do. Another interviewee said,
I feel that in the rate it's going, I don't I don't see that it's going to be beneficial for the prisoners. Um, it just feels like but then again, it just depends. Living here in California, there's a lot of lax laws that have been happening. So the crime rate, I think, would be, just allowed and going up. And but the punishment, I don't think, is going to go according to the crimes. Um, so I don't really see changes too much because we haven't seen a lot of changes in my lifetime that I've been around, especially this past, I'd say, like 5 years. You haven't really changed much, so I don't see it changing for the good, as opposed to just staying kind of the way it's been going.
Okay, so it looks like we have some disagreement across the board. We took it a step further as well, asking what people think needs to change within the system. The aforementioned interviewee also said,
Um, I think that changes start in communities is where I think that that's where it would need to be beneficial or would be beneficial. Um, More education, especially in low income areas, uh, would help with that. So that way, there we could prevent the crimes. We can prevent uh, the neighborhoods that really, need that kind of support. So I think that that's the changes that should actually be happening. And people are in prison, or it gets to that point where there's programs to help them reestablish into society and educating them on that. So that way they have more preparation and more support.
That's actually a really good point that ties in with rehab. In Norway, prisons f focus on educating their prisoners and providing them with life skills so that they can better integrate into society. I think that this is what the US is trying to move towards in the future.
right. And this applies to the penological approach to punishment coined by David Garland. The penological approach to punishment focuses on effective ways at reducing crime. In our case, rehabilitation is the future. Deterrence is another penological approach that the US has been using.
"You're right. In Norway, deterrence takes the form of prisoners' freedom being taken away. They are still given basic human privileges and rehabilitative services such as therapy, education, and job training. So both of these penological approaches are working in tandem to reduce crime."
Agreed, Ian. And that's just like what our first interviewee said about how scaring people causes deterrence.
I don't think it's when you scare people. To scare somebody, it would be telling them you're going to go to prison for the rest of your life. And I've seen people get out and then seen them come right and then process the same person. I've seen people do years. They come to 10, 15 years and then they're back in prison. So to scare them would be, listen, if you don't stop acting up when you go home or whatever, you're gonna do this amount of time. Or you can tell people out, you can tell people the stories out there. I have friends that I've told the stories to. Like, listen, prison's no joke. You don't want to go there. It's rats and roaches, and I wake you up at 5 a.m. and I'm walking around knocking on your cell all night. And then they still went to jail. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think scaring them is a thing. Um,
So you would say,
I think they should teach it more in school so they could drill it in. Because once you're older, it's like you're already out there. It is
yeah,
what it is. You don't care. You're gonna do whatever you want. I think they should start teaching that in schools from young. No, they should actually have classes on it and actually let them get like tours of the prison. Because then I think it would deter them. Like some people when they go to prison and they do a bid, it's such an easy bid now because prison is not what it used to be. Prison is like you're walking around, you're eating, you get free food, a shelter, you have programs, you have iPads, you have yard, you get conjugal visits, you get visits every day if you want. So I think to just start them off young to show them the environment.
Precisely. If scaring them doesn't work and people can't be deterred from merely having their freedoms taken away, then the correctional system can focus their efforts on rehabilitation.
That's a great analysis. The other two of David Garland's approaches to punishment are the philosophical, in which it aims to justify punishment morally, and the sociological, in which it focuses on maintaining social norms. These other approaches may factor into the penological approaches of deterrence and rehabilitation.
Exactly. Just like both these interviewees said, more education could help shape the future of punishment if our society is moving forward a punishment system reminiscent of Norway's. Then providing better education both in and out of jails is crucial.
You're right. Education will lay a foundation in which social norms may be built upon, which connects to the sociological aspect of punishment. If we teach people right from wrong, which applies to the philosophical aspect, the public will more likely be able want to maintain those norms. This will ignite the change from our current prison system to a more rehabilitation-focused one.
Yes. Furthermore, a change in social culture and better, clearer education about punishment will also make people more aware of the freedom they stand to lose if they do commit crime. This is the deterrent aspect of punishment of the future.
Agreed, guys. But what about the rehabilitation within prisons needs to change? If our systems are going to advance, I think it's clear that some things need to be changed.
Maybe we should look towards our interviewees about potential insight?
So from what I've seen working in the prison, I worked in the workshops actually. I had a bit in the workshops, and what I've seen is the workshops work as far as like making chairs and stuff like that, and building like tables and staying active, making them feel like they have like a purpose. Like all the barbering schools, you never hear about those guys getting in trouble. I think the hands-on workshops work.
Interviewee number 2, Melina, said,
I also was incarcerated, so I spent that time and I have that lived experience of doing that. Never at any moment did they say, hey, let's offer you these resources so that way you're prepared. It's more like, all right, we're just there you go, now you're going throwing back to society, you've done your time, good luck, and hopefully it works. So even though my time was minimal and it was a federal crime, have had those options would have been nice, connecting either with some schooling or something just for a job or preparation, because what nobody prepares you for is when you're filling out applications at a job to try to get back into society, and having to check the box that's in the applications that says if you've been convicted of a felony. And when you do that, you're not supposed to be excluded from being hired, but yet it's very obvious that that's what people do. So nobody prepares you for having to experience that rejection and closed doors. They just expect you to come out and just do everything that you need to do and get back on track.
Wow. So it looks like we are somewhat on the right track. It's important to remember that the majority of inmates will end up out of prison at some point. So teaching them real life skills that will help them on the outside seems essential.
Yes, in 50 years, it's likely that its society focuses on balancing rehab and deterrence. Our prisons are going to be near unrecognizable, from the better education in and out of prisons to better environments for those incarcerated, to increase workshops providing real life experiences. Changes is going to be made.
Absolutely. For better or worse, changes are coming. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that we are excited to see what the future holds. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.